Hi, we're here at Cooper B Motorcycles near Wellingborough, and they're a MotoGP main dealer. They look after Voge as well as Royal Enfield. Today we're on the Voge Open Day. We're going to be taking out the Voge 800 DS Rally. Very sought after bike. A lot talked about this bike at the moment. It's I think 95 brake horsepower, got a nice bit of torque as well. Supposed to be a great adventure bike on and off road. So I'm going on that for the next 5-10 minutes, and Julian will be going on the 625 over there, which is a smaller version, not as off-road orientated, but still a beautiful bike. And they are Chinese, but they are very good value for money. They've got all the decent stuff on there. This comes with ABS. It's got your Nissin brakes, your Japanese, upside down forks, adjustable front forks and rear, adjustable forks and shocks. I mean, it's even got what's it called? You know, got a camera on the front. Got a camera.
Okay, this is Julian here. I'm out on my first test ride, and that's on the Voge DS625X. Now, this isn't the same bike as we were looking at a few seconds ago because it's got a different livery. You have the choice of the black light, which is what I was looking at before, which is the sort of dark menacing one, and this is the nice lighter sandy, I think it's called desert yellow. It works quite well because it contrasts nicely with the gold in the suspension and the bronze in the engine plates. So the DS625X, I think you class it as being in the light adventure category. The DS, that's for dual sport, and I don't know whether that applies to being on and off road, or whether it means it's both a good commuter bike and a good tourer, but well, okay. But the X at the end, I'm told, stands for cross. That just means it's got a few accessories which make it more like an off-roading capability, such as spoke wheels, that sort of thing. One of the things about this is that although it's a DS625, the actual true CC is only 581, which is a bit odd because it means that, I don't know, 44 CC are still sitting in a jar somewhere in China. I can only think that this is just some sort of marketing decision to put it in the 600s category, but I can't help but feel a little bit diddled, and it shouldn't really be called 625 at all, but there we are. I guess it doesn't worry a lot of people, but it has most of the sort of mod cons you'd expect from a motorcycle today, including the obligatory TFT colour display unit and LED lighting all round. You might have noticed already the quite snaz indicators. It's got the comfort seat, which is, like for touring, I think that's pretty important. It's got heated grips and a heated seat, both of which I rate very highly, particularly if you're going to go touring and you end up in adverse weather conditions. It can make just an absolutely colossal difference to your comfort and well-being in those situations. So what other accessories have we got? The spotlights, I think there's tyre pressure monitoring system, which I'm told you can monitor the actual tyre temperatures, which I'm sure is useful if you're trying to set a record lap time at Silverstone, but I don't know how many buyers of this bike will be doing that sort of thing with it. And as Frankie was saying, or trying to say earlier, it's got a 1080 pixel webcam, dash cam, sorry Bill, not a webcam. Okay, well at least I don't think it's a webcam anyway. So anyway, I'd say aesthetically it's a beautiful bike, sharp lines, nice purposeful stance, nothing really gawky about it. Its comfort's decent. The seat's around 835mm, which is about 25mm shorter than what I'm used to, but it doesn't feel like a small bike and I don't feel cramped. And the engine note is sort of, I don't know, friendly rather than being fearsome. Doesn't really roar particularly, it just hums politely, like a well brought up guest. What it does remind me of this bike is I had a Triumph 660 Type Sport not so long ago, and it's very similar to that, although I should think the 660 having a true 660cc as opposed to a fake 625 581cc. I think it's the Tiger 660 probably has a lot more performance on it than this motorcycle has, but don't quote me on that. I'd say that the handling feels excellent. It feels nice and balanced in the turns. None of the controls are sort of heavy and clunky. They're so good I practically don't notice them. I think there might be spotlights as well on this bike. It's obviously got a bit of rough terrain capability. It's got tyres which have got some off-road capability, and it would certainly make quite a reasonable tourer. But anyway, the key thing about it, I think, is the fact that it's only £6,000 on the road, which is just an amazing price that is so much better, or so much lower than anything else that you compare to in the category. Perhaps the only thing that might be lower cost in approaching it is the Royal Enfield Himalayan. I don't know about that. I can't think what the prices are offhand, but this is a much more sophisticated, luxurious ride than it would be on the Himalayan. So, well, I don't think it would win a drag race against the Tiger 660 or any of the other offerings in that sort of range from the Japanese manufacturers, but all in all, very nice bike for the price. Comfortable and quite a pretty adventure bike. So that's about all I can really think to say on this one for now. Just looking around to see if there's any other accessories that I might have forgotten. Probably plenty. I think there's ride modes, there's a bash plate. This one's got a top box on it. I haven't looked at the price of the luggage to go with it, but there is a dedicated luggage system for it, I believe, which again is good if you want this bike primarily to use to do some touring. Okay, we're just waiting to go out on our second test ride. Frankie's over there on my right and he's taking out the DS625X I rode earlier. Looks like we're off. This time I'm on the Voge DS800X Rally. Again, a parallel twin and the bigger brother to the 625. So we're off, just clearing the pig farm now, and then we've got a farm track before we get down onto the road. And straight away, this feels like a seriously good bike. It's a proper 800cc, give or take 2cc, and it's good for 94 horsepower, and it shouldn't struggle with luggage or a pillion or overtaking or anything like that. Now, the engine has quite an interesting backstory. It was built by Lonson, which is probably the biggest automotive company you've never heard of. The same company actually manufactures engines for BMW's F-Series bikes. Lonson actually created the Voge brand about 6 years ago as its premium motorcycle line. This actual engine unit is derived from earlier BMW F800 engine, which Lonson produced under license, and then they reworked it for more refinement to give a touch more power. And in fact, the power on this is slightly up on the current BMW F800 GS. Weight-wise, this bike is 230 kilos, only about 7 more than the DS625X, despite the bigger engine. Now, my usual ride is a Yamaha Tenere, and as I know that bike quite well, I'm going to draw a lot of comparisons between that and the Voge, which I think is quite valid because they're sort of for the same target market. The Voge is maybe just a couple of kilos heavier, but nothing you'd notice once you're rolling. The real difference between these two bikes, or like one of the most pronounced things, is the difference in power. The Tenere makes 72 brake horsepower, whereas this Voge is actually 94 brake horsepower, so it's going to pull significantly harder. Suspension is fully adjustable KYBs. I think it's 200mm on the front and 190 on the rear, which is a bit less, I think, than you get on the Tenere, but not enough really to make any sort of serious difference. And I think also, because the seat's slightly lower on this, I think probably it's got slightly less ground clearance, but I haven't checked between the two. There are tubeless wheels on tyres, and obviously the particular advantages with that you know, it's easier to change tyres, pick dimensions, etc. In terms of comforts as a touring bike, this is massively better than the Tenere. One factor is it's got a 24-litre tank as against the Tenere's 16-litre, which gives it a bit more of a range. So you can get, I think, about 280 to 90 miles on a full tank in good conditions, which is a bit more than the Tenere. And I can tell you, on the Tenere, if you're touring with other motorcycles, like I was touring with somebody who was on a GS, really you are quite encumbered, and you're always annoying your riding partners by needing to fuel up a bit more often than they do. So in terms of a bike to take touring, I've got to say the comfort is excellent. The seat is just superb. The posture is great. The seat height is 850 millimeters, which is lower than the Tenere's 875, but I don't really feel cramped. In terms of other things you get with this bike, there's a tall portrait-mounted 7-inch TFT dash, and it's really nicely positioned, almost exactly the same as it would be on the Tenere, which means that you don't have to take your eyes off the road for very long to look down and glance at it, which I really like. When I was riding the 625 earlier, I found it actually a bit of an encumberment to have to look so far down to see what the instruments are doing. I should talk about the most staggering thing about this motorcycle, which I don't think anyone's going to be really surprised by, which of course, you know, the thing that everyone is talking about is the price, because this comes in at $6,999. I think it's about an extra couple of hundred to get on the road, so compare that with about, it's over 10, you know, £11,000 now for a new Tenere, and you begin to start to see the appeal of this bike. For the cost of the Yamaha, you could practically buy this Voge and have enough money left over to buy another small bike. The equipment list for this is superb. It's got things that, you know, a Tenere owner, if they wanted them, they'd have to add later. In particular, I've already extolled the virtues of heated seat and heated grips. Again, this motorcycle has, like the 625 has. What else? You've got phone connectivity, but then that's, you know, pretty much de rigueur these days. You've got the built-in 1080 pixel dash cam, tyre pressure monitoring, there's USB-A and USB-C charging ports, just great on equipment really. There's a steering damper, there's a bash plate which doesn't look the most robust, but not having one, hand guards, crash bars, there's a centre stand even, and there's a reinforced side stand that's got a nice wide foot for soft ground. All the kit most riders often end up fitting anyway. And that's even before you consider the performance. Tenere 700 is around 72 horsepower, whereas, as we've said, this produces just shy of 94. Now it's a full 22 horsepower more, and that's probably the single biggest advantage of all in my opinion. So in short, compared with the DS625X, this feels like a proper big adventure machine, more capable in every direction. If I had the choice between a new T7 or to have a new DS800X, despite my love of the Tenere, I'd honestly have to go for this. You can't sniff at an extra 22 horsepower, plus the extra range, all those factory fit accessories, and the fact that the price is roughly £4,000 lower. You know, like it's I hate to say it, but it's almost like a no-brainer. You know, in terms of off-road capability, it might not quite match the Tenere's, how should we call it, rally-proven suspension and abilities, but it hits power. You can hit harder on power, and it's noticeably a much better motorcycle, and much better suited for touring. The same applies when you line it up against other rivals. The BMW F800 and the Honda Transalp 750 both cost about £3,000 more. Of course, the KTM 890 is north of £12,000. So you don't always get what you pay for, but you certainly get a lot for your money in one of these. Okay, we're just back from our last test ride, and I've been on the Voge 800. courtesy. Really did find it. My normal bike is a 10 Air. I found that this by comparison was quite a nippy bike actually. You know, I think it could accelerate. I think it certainly accelerate the 10 Air. Yeah, very easy to ride. Power comes on really beautiful and smooth. Don't really know what else to say about it. So
What about that one? What about that?
Oh, you can talk about that one, can't you? Just
Okay, do you want me
off
to
that
talk
one,
about that
yeah.
one?
Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, go on, I've still got it.
Yeah,
Right.
there was a retrospect. Yeah, I'll just cut it afterwards. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
625, Voge 625 DS.
Thanks. Start from the beginning. Start from. I've just finished the test ride on
Just
this one.
finished the test ride, and I was on this time, the DS625 DS. It's a lovely little bike. To be fair, it doesn't feel as adventure orientated as the 800. It feels a bit, if you switch it onto S for the sport mode, it feels a bit like a Street Fighter type bike, and it goes through the corners, lovely, really nippy, you know. But you have to put it on the S mode, and that way you've got more instant throttle response. It is lovely, very flickable, very nice handling bike, and very cheap for what it is, a brand new bike. I think this is 5,600.
Wow, that's an amazing price.
Yeah, brand new. Whereas the Voge 800, let me go to this one. This is retails at 6,999 plus about 200 quid on the road, so it's 7,199, 7,200 pounds. But you can also get these panniers. I think they're doing a special offer with these for 600 quid. And I mean, I'll show you the quality. Can I open it up?
Yeah, please open it up.
Look at that. I mean, look, this one's the exhaust side, so it's a bit smaller. It's got like a velvet inside there, but they've got the waterproof lining in there, so they're completely waterproof, and they're really good quality. They feel really good quality.
We cut it off then because it sounded like you.
Yeah, I did
Start
finish.
again. Call it Voge. Don't go Vogue. Just go Voge. Okay.
Right, but they call
Don't-
it Vogue in there.
Then stick to Vogue. Just call it Vogue. Okay. One or the other. Don't do one or the other.